I knew confessing in public was risky, but standing there in the middle of the college courtyard, surrounded by hundreds of eyes, I told myself it would be worth it. Because of her. Because of Chloe Bennett. I tightened my grip on the bouquet in my hands, my palms slightly sweaty. Ryan leaned against the pillar nearby, watching with a faint smile. "You sure about this?" he asked casually. I nodded. "Yeah, I've waited long enough." He shrugged. "Your call." I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Chloe," I called. She turned. For a second, everything slowed. Her hair moved slightly with the breeze, sunlight catching in her eyes. She smiled, and my heart jumped. I stepped closer. I need to tell you something." The crowd around us began to quiet down. Someone whispered, "Is he confessing?" Another voice, "No way." I swallowed. "Chloe, I like you." Silence. Complete silence. For one brief moment, I thought maybe, just maybe, she smiled again. But something felt off. She didn't look at me the way I imagined she would. Instead, she stepped forward, past me. I blinked. "Chloe?" I said. She didn't stop. My chest tightened as I slowly turned around, and then I saw it. Ryan. She walked straight to him, and without hesitation, she stood beside him. "I'm sorry," she said softly, but not to him, to me. My fingers loosened around the flowers. "What?" I whispered. Then she reached out and held his hand. The world came back all at once. Gasps, whispers, laughter. Wait, what just happened? Is that his brother? No way. I stood there, frozen, my own brother. All out of everyone. Ryan looked at me. For a second, I searched his face for guilt, for regret, for anything, but there was nothing. "I didn't plan this," he said, but his eyes told a different story. Cold, certain, like he already knew this would happen. I let out a hollow laugh. "You didn't plan this?" I repeated. Chloe looked down slightly. "I didn't want to hurt you," she said. "Then why does it feel like you tried your best?" I replied. More whispers, more stares. I could feel every single one of them, burning into me. Ryan sighed. "Look, man, these things just happen." "These things?" I echoed. "Feelings change." I stared at him. "For both of you? At the same time?" He didn't answer, because he didn't need to. I already understood. The humiliation hit harder than the rejection. It wasn't just that she didn't choose me, it was who she chose instead. My own brother. Laughter spread again somewhere behind me. I clenched my jaw. Don't react, don't break, don't give them that. But my chest felt like it was collapsing. Chloe stepped forward slightly. "We can still be friends?" "Don't," I cut her off. She froze. "Just don't say that." Ryan placed a hand in his pocket, watching me carefully now. "Hey," he said. "It's not that serious." I laughed again, but this time it sounded sharper. "Not serious?" He frowned slightly. "You're overreacting." Something inside me snapped. "Overreacting?" I repeated. "Yeah," he said. "You confessed. She said no. Move on." I stared at him. "You really don't get it, do you?" "Get what?" I shook my head. Of course he didn't. Because he had never been in my position, never been second, never been the one standing alone. I felt the weight of every eye around me again, watching, waiting, judging, and in that moment, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being the one everyone pitied, the one everyone laughed at. So I did something stupid, something impulsive, something I didn't think through. I reached out and grabbed the hand of the girl standing next to me. Her hand was cold, still, unmoving. "Doesn't matter," I said loudly. The words came out before I could stop them. I'd already have someone better. The courtyard went silent again. I didn't even look at her at first. Didn't think, didn't process. I just held her hand like it meant something, like it was real. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Oh?" he said. Chloe looked confused. "What are you talking about?" she asked. That's when the girl finally moved, slowly, carefully. She turned her head toward me, and my heart stopped. Because I recognized her. Everyone did. Sophia Laurent, the most untouchable girl on campus, The one no one approached, the one no one dared to talk to. Cold, elegant, distant. And I had just dragged her into my mess. Her eyes locked onto mine, sharp, unreadable, dangerous. "What are you doing?" she asked quietly. My throat went dry. I had no answer, no explanation, no plan. I started. Think, say something, anything. "I'm your boyfriend," I said. The words echoed louder than anything else. Gasps spread through the crowd. "What? No way." "Is he serious?" Ryan laughed. Chloe blinked in confusion, but Sophia, she didn't react, not immediately. She just stared at me, like she was analyzing every part of me, every word, every intention, and for a second, I thought I had just ruined my life even more. Then something unexpected happened. Her fingers tightened around mine, not pulling away, not hesitating, holding on, and then she spoke, calm, steady, unshaken. "Yes." The world shifted in that moment, and I knew. Nothing would ever be the same again. I didn't let go of her hand, not because I was confident, but because I was too shocked to move. Sophia Laurent. Out of everyone in that courtyard, it had to be her. Her fingers were cold, firm, unmoving, and her eyes locked onto mine like she was trying to figure me out. "What are you doing?" she asked quietly. Her voice wasn't loud, but somehow it cut through all the noise around us. I swallowed. "I'm your boyfriend." The moment the words left my mouth, I felt the weight of them. The entire courtyard reacted instantly. "What? No way." "Is he serious?" Ryan laughed. "Wow," he said, shaking his head. "Now this is desperate." Chloe looked between us, confused. "This isn't funny," she said, but Sophia didn't react to any of them. She didn't even blink. She just kept staring at me. And for a second, I thought I was done, that she would pull her hand away, expose me, end everything right there. But she didn't. Instead, she tightened her grip and said calmly, "Yes." Silence. Total silence. Even the whisper stopped. I blinked. "Wait. What?" I whispered under my breath. She leaned slightly closer to me. "Don't make me repeat myself," she said quietly. I stared at her. "You're serious?" Her expression didn't change. "Do I look like I joke?" "No," I admitted. "Then act like you meant what you said." I exhaled slowly. "Right. Act." I turned back toward the crowd, trying to hold it together. "Yeah," I said louder this time. "We've been together." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Since when?" I hesitated. Sophia answered for me. "Long enough," she said. Her tone was calm, final. Aha, like no one had the right to question it. And just like that, no one did. Because this was Sophia Laurent. No one challenged her. No one doubted her. Even Ryan went quiet. Chloe frowned slightly. "This doesn't make sense," she said. Sophia glanced at her briefly. "It doesn't have to." That shut her up. I almost laughed. Almost. Because inside, I was panicking. What just happened? Why did she agree? And more importantly, what was I supposed to do now? Sophia leaned closer again. "Smile," she whispered. "What?" "Smile," she repeated. "Unless you want them to think you're lying." I forced a small smile. This was insane. Completely insane. Ryan crossed his arms. "You really expect me to believe this?" he asked. Sophia finally looked at him properly. "I don't expect anything from you," she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried authority. Ryan's jaw tightened slightly, but he didn't respond. For the first time in my life, I saw him hesitate. Chloe looked uncomfortable now. "Let's just go," she said to Ryan. He nodded, still watching me. "This isn't over," he muttered. I didn't reply, because honestly, I didn't even know what this was anymore. As they walked away, the tension slowly faded. The crowd started whispering again, but this time, it was different. Not laughter, not humiliation, curiosity, shock. Something had shifted, and I was standing in the middle of it, still holding Sophia's hand. I looked at her. "Okay, what just happened?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked around at the remaining crowd. "Show's over," she said coldly. "You go." And just like that, people started leaving. No arguments, no hesitation. Within seconds, the courtyard cleared out. I blinked. "Do people always listen to you like that?" Yes, she said simply. Of course they did. I ran a hand through my hair. You know you didn't have to do that, right? She looked at me. I know. Then why did you? She studied me for a moment, like she was deciding how much to say. Then she let go of my hand. Finally. And somehow, I felt the absence instantly. That was impulsive, she said. You think? I replied. No, she continued calmly. You were impulsive. I was calculated. I frowned. Calculated how? She stepped slightly closer. Because now, she said, everyone is watching. I blinked. Watching what? Us. I let out a short laugh. Ma, there is no us. Her expression didn't change. There is now. I stared at her. You're serious about this? Yes. Why? She tilted her head slightly. Because it's useful. That answer didn't sit right with me. Useful for what? She didn't respond. Instead, she turned away slightly. You ask too many questions, and you give too few answers. That's intentional. I sighed. This is crazy. Maybe, she said. But you started it. Yeah, but I didn't expect you to go along with it. She glanced back at me. Neither did I. That caught me off guard. Then why did you? For a moment, she didn't speak. Then she said quietly, because you didn't hesitate. I frowned. What does that mean? You stood there, she continued, in front of everyone, after being humiliated. I looked away slightly. And didn't feel great. I'm sure it didn't, she said. But you still made a move. A stupid one. Maybe, she admitted, but not a weak one. I looked back at her. That was the last thing I expected her to say. She crossed her arms. Most people would have stayed quiet. Most people aren't that dumb, I replied. A faint, almost invisible smile touched her lips. You're different. I'm desperate, I corrected. She shook her head. No. Desperate people beg. I didn't respond, because part of me knew she was right. She took a step back. Anyway, she said, what's done is done. So what now? I asked. Now, she replied, we continue. Continue what? She looked directly into my eyes. This. I let out a breath. You mean, pretend? Yes. For how long? As long as it's useful. I hesitated. Yeah, and if I say no? She didn't even blink. Then you explain to everyone why you lied. I stared at her. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, she said calmly. I rubbed my forehead. This is blackmail. It's strategy. Same thing. Not really. I sighed again. This girl was impossible, but she wasn't wrong. If I backed out now, I'd look like a joke. Again. I looked at her. And what do you get out of this? She paused, just for a second, then said, control. That word felt heavier than everything else she'd said. And I'm part of that? Yes. I laughed quietly. Great. I went from being rejected to being used. She didn't react. You agreed to it, she said. I didn't agree to anything. You didn't refuse. I opened my mouth, then closed it. She had a point. Again. Fine, I said finally. We continue. She nodded once. Good. But, I added, I have one condition. She raised an eyebrow. You're negotiating? Yeah. Go ahead. I looked at her seriously. No games with me. She studied my face. No unnecessary lies, I continued. No making me look like an idiot. She thought about it, then nodded. Fair? And you? I asked. What's your condition? Her eyes locked onto mine again. Don't fall behind. I frowned. What does that mean? It means, she said quietly, if you're going to stand next to me, keep up. I let out a small breath. No pressure. None at all, she replied. Then she turned and started walking away. I stood there for a second, then called out, Hey! She stopped but didn't turn around. What? I hesitated, then asked, Are you always like this? She glanced back slightly. Like what? Cold. She paused, just for a moment, then said, No, and walked away. I stood there watching her leave, still trying to process everything. A few minutes ago, I was the guy who got rejected in front of everyone. Now, I was somehow connected to the most untouchable girl on campus. Because of one stupid decision, one impulsive moment, I let out a quiet laugh. What did I just get myself into? I muttered. But deep down, I already knew. This wasn't going to stay simple, because something about her, the way she looked at me, the way she spoke, the way she took control of the situation, it didn't feel fake, not completely. And that was the most dangerous part. Because somehow, without understanding why, I had just stepped into something real, and I had no idea how far it would go. By the next morning, everyone knew. Not just my class, not just my department, the entire campus. I walked into the hallway and immediately heard whispers. That's him, the guy with Sophia Laurent. No way, that's real. I kept walking, head straight, expression calm, at least on the outside. Inside? What did I do? I muttered under my breath. My phone buzzed. Ryan, of course, I answered. What? I said. You want to explain something to me? He asked. Not really. Too bad, he replied. Meet me, now. I have class. You have problems, he snapped. 10 minutes. The call ended. I sighed. This day just keeps getting better. 10 minutes later, I found him near the parking lot. He was leaning against his car, arms crossed, waiting. I walked up. What do you want? He pushed himself off the car. I want the truth. You got it yesterday. No, he said sharply. I got a performance. I shrugged. Believe what you want. Ryan stepped closer. You think I don't see what this is? He said. Then explain it to me, I replied. You got rejected, he said. So you grabbed the first girl you could find. I smirked slightly. Not just any girl. His jaw tightened. Exactly. That's what makes it suspicious. So you think I planned it? I asked. I think you're playing a game you don't understand. I tilted my head. And you do? I understand people, he said. And Sophia Laurent isn't the type to just go along with something like that. I didn't answer, because I agreed. That means she has a reason, Ryan continued. Maybe she likes me, I said casually. He laughed. Don't insult my intelligence. Then what do you want from me? The truth, he repeated. I met his gaze. I don't know. That shut him up. For once, I continued, I actually don't know what's going on. Ryan studied my face, trying to find something, anything. Then he exhaled slowly. Be careful, he said. That's it? That's it. I raised an eyebrow. No threats? No big brother speech? He shook his head. No, he said. Because if you're involved with her, he paused. You're already in deeper than you realize. I didn't respond, because something about the way he said it didn't feel like a warning. It felt like a fact. Later that night, I was in my apartment, staring at my phone. No messages from Sophia, no instructions, no explanation, just silence. I threw my phone onto the bed. Wow, this is ridiculous, as if on cue. It rang. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Hello? We need to talk. Her voice, calm, controlled, of course. I sat up. I was wondering when you'd call. Don't flatter yourself, she replied. I almost smiled. Where? My place, I blinked. That's direct. Do you want answers or not? I'll be there. She hung up. No goodbye, no hesitation. I grabbed my jacket. Guess we're doing this. 20 minutes later, I stood outside her building. It was exactly what I expected. Modern, expensive, untouchable, just like her. I rang the bell. The door clicked open instantly. No questions, I walked in. Her apartment was quiet, minimal, perfect. She stood by the window, looking out at the city. She didn't turn when I entered. You're late, she said. I came as fast as I could. That wasn't fast enough. I closed the door behind me. Nice place. I didn't invite you to admire the furniture. Straight to the point, of course. Then let's talk, I said. She turned to face me. What do you want to know? Everything. That's not how this works. Then start with something, I replied. Like, why? She walked past me and sat down. Because it benefits me. You said that yesterday, and it's still true. I crossed my arms. Benefits you how? She looked at me, long, careful, then said, "I need a distraction." I frowned. "From what?" "My life." That wasn't the answer I expected. "What does that even mean?" "It means," she said calmly, "so as people watch me too closely." "And pretending to date me fixes that?" "It shifts attention." "To me?" "Yes." I laughed. "Great, so I'm your shield?" "Among other things." I shook my head. "This is insane." "Yet you're still here." I paused. She wasn't wrong. "Because I want to understand," I said. "You don't need to understand," she replied. "You just need to play your role." "And what exactly is my role?" She stood up and walked toward me. "Be convincing." "That's it?" "For now." I stared at her. "And if I mess up, you won't." "That's not an answer." She stopped right in front of me, close enough that I could see every detail in her eyes, sharp, focused, unreadable. "It's not an option," she said quietly. Something about her tone made me believe it. I exhaled slowly. "See, fine." She studied me for a second, then nodded. "Good." Silence filled the room, not uncomfortable, just heavy. "There's something else," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "What?" "Why me?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked back toward the window. For a moment, I thought she would ignore the question. Then she spoke. "Because you're unpredictable." I frowned. "That's a weird compliment." "It's not a compliment," she said. "It's a reason." I stepped closer. "Explain." "You didn't hesitate yesterday," she said. "You acted." "Yeah, badly." "That doesn't matter." "Then what does?" She turned slightly. "Most people calculate every move," she said. "They think about consequences." "And I don't?" "Not in that moment." I crossed my arms. "Yes, I'm reckless." "You're honest." That caught me off guard. "Honest?" "You reacted without pretending," she said. "That's rare." I looked at her. "And you needed that?" "Yes." "For what?" She paused, then said quietly, "For this to work." I didn't fully understand, but I felt it. There was more behind her words, something she wasn't saying, something she wasn't ready to say. I sighed. "This is a lot." "It's simple," she replied. "We pretend, we benefit, we move on." "Just like that?" "Yes." I nodded slowly. "Okay." She looked at me. "Okay?" "Yeah," I said. "We continue." Her expression didn't change, but I noticed it, a slight shift, almost approval. "Good," she said. I turned toward the door. "Then I guess I'll see you tomorrow, girlfriend." She didn't react to the word, not outwardly, but I caught it, that tiny pause, that tiny reaction. As I reached the door, she spoke again. "Daniel." I stopped. "Yeah?" "Don't get attached." I smiled slightly. "Don't worry," I said. "I'm not that stupid." She didn't respond. I walked out, closed the door behind me, and stood there for a moment, alone, processing. This is temporary, I told myself. Just a game. Just pretending. Nothing real, but as I walked away, something didn't sit right because the way she looked at me, the way she spoke, the way she chose me, it didn't feel like a simple game. And that was the problem, because somewhere between the lie and the truth, something was starting to change, slowly, quietly, dangerously, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to stop it. Sophia wasn't what people thought she was. I realized that slowly, not in one moment, not in one conversation, but in pieces. Small cracks behind that perfect, controlled image. The first time I noticed it was late at night. We were in the library, empty, quiet, just the two of us. She sat across from me, focused on her laptop. "Do you ever take a break?" I asked. "No." "That doesn't sound healthy." "It's efficient." I leaned back in my chair. "You're not a machine, Sophia." She didn't look up. "I don't have the luxury of slowing down." "Why?" She paused, just for a second, then continued typing. "Because if I stop," she said calmly, "someone else takes my place." I frowned. "That sounds intense." "It is." I watched her for a moment. "You're serious, aren't you?" She finally looked at me. "I'm always serious." "Yeah," I said. "That's kind of the problem." Her eyes narrowed slightly. Excuse me? You don't relax, I continued. You don't joke. You don't breathe. That's not your concern. Maybe not, I admitted. But I'm still noticing it. She closed her laptop, slowly, deliberately. What exactly are you trying to say? She asked. I hesitated, then said it anyway. You look tired. Silence. For a moment, I thought she would snap back, say something cold, dismiss it, but she didn't. Instead, she looked away, and that was the first crack. I'm fine, she said quietly. No, I replied. You're not. Her jaw tightened. You don't know anything about me. Then tell me, I said. I don't have to. You don't, I agreed, but maybe you should. She stood up suddenly. I didn't bring you here to analyze me. Then why did you bring me here? I asked. She didn't answer, and that silence said more than anything else. The next day, things felt different, not between us, but around us. People were watching more, whispering more, reacting more. Chloe was one of them. She approached me after class. Can we talk? She asked. I looked at her. For what? She hesitated. I just want to understand. Understand what? This, she said, gesturing slightly. You and Sophia. I shrugged. There's nothing to understand. That's not true. I crossed my arms. It is. She stepped closer. You don't just end up with someone like her. I almost laughed. Apparently, I do. She frowned. This isn't like you. What isn't? This, she repeated. Being different. I looked at her for a moment, then asked, different from what? From before, she said softly. Before. I knew what she meant. Before her, before everything. People change, I said. She studied my face. You changed fast. Maybe I should have changed sooner. That hit her. I saw it, the slight shift in her expression. Is this about me? She asked. I didn't answer immediately, then said, no. But we both knew that wasn't entirely true. She looked down briefly. I didn't mean to hurt you. I know. Then why does it feel like you're punishing me? I shook my head. I'm not. Then what is this? I held her gaze. This is me moving on. She didn't respond. Because there was nothing to say. Because for the first time, I wasn't chasing her, and she didn't know how to handle that. Mom, and later that day, Ryan found me again. This is getting out of hand, he said. What is? You and Sophia. I sighed. Why does everyone care so much? Because it doesn't make sense, he replied. Not everything has to. It does when it involves her. I looked at him. You seem nervous. I'm realistic. About what? About the fact that you're stepping into something bigger than you. I smirked slightly. You said that already. And you didn't listen. I heard you, I said. I just didn't stop. Ryan shook his head. You think this is a win? I think it's a change. That's not the same thing. Maybe not, I admitted. But I'm not going back. He studied me for a second, then nodded slowly. Yeah, he said. I can see that. That night, Sophia called me again. Come over, she said. You don't waste time, do you? No, I smiled slightly. I'll be there. When I arrived, she was different, not in appearance, not in posture, but in energy, quieter, less sharp. You look tired, I said as I walked in. She didn't argue this time. I am. I raised an eyebrow. That was easy. Don't get used to it. I stepped closer. What's going on? She hesitated, then said, my family. I waited. She continued, they expect perfection. That's not unusual. It is when failure isn't an option. I frowned. What happens if you fail? She looked at me, and for the first time, there was something real in her eyes. Then I stopped being useful. That didn't sit right with me. You're not a tool. That's not how they see it. I exhaled slowly. Oh, and this us helps? Yes. How? It gives me control, she said. Something that's mine. I looked at her. So, I'm your rebellion? She considered it. Something like that. I nodded. Okay. She studied me. That's it? What do you want me to say? I expected resistance. I already agreed to this, I said. I'm not going to back out now. She looked away slightly. Most people would. I'm not most people. I know, she said quietly. Silence settled between us. But it felt different now, less like a deal, more like understanding. Can I ask you something? I said. She nodded once. Why do you always look so distant? She didn't answer immediately. Then said, because it's easier. Easier than what? Feeling anything. I frowned. That sounds lonely. It's efficient. I shook my head. You really like that word. It works? Does it? I asked. She didn't respond, because deep down, she knew it didn't. I stepped closer. You don't have to do that all the time, I said. Do what? Pretend you're fine. She looked at me, and for a moment, that cold expression faded, just a little. You're different, she said. You said that before. I meant it. I smiled slightly. Good. She studied me for a second longer, then looked away. Don't get used to this. To what? This version of me. I shrugged. I kind of like it. That made her pause, just for a second, then she turned away. You shouldn't. Too late. She didn't respond, but I saw it, that small reaction, that small shift, and that's when I realized something. This wasn't just a deal anymore, not for me. Yet because somewhere along the way, without planning it, without noticing it, I had started to care. Not about the situation, not about the image, but about her. And that was dangerous, because the line between fake and real was already gone. And I wasn't pretending anymore. I was falling for her. Everything came to a head at the annual gala, the biggest event of the year. Lights, music, people dressed like they had something to prove, and maybe they did. I stood near the entrance, adjusting my suit. This feels like a bad idea, I muttered. Sophia stood beside me, calm as always. It's necessary. For what? I asked. For people to see, she replied. See what? She glanced at me. That you belong here. I let out a quiet breath. I'm still getting used to that. You shouldn't have to, she said, but I do. She didn't respond. Instead, she reached for my hand and held it. Not for show, not for anyone else. Just naturally. I looked at her. You okay? I asked. I will be, she said. That answer stayed with me. We walked inside together, and just like that, every conversation in the room shifted. Heads turned, whispers spread. That's them. So it's true. No way. I felt it, the attention, the pressure, but this time I didn't feel small because I wasn't standing there alone. Ryan was there too, across the room, watching, his expression unreadable. Chloe stood beside him, and the moment her eyes landed on me, everything changed. She froze, then slowly. She walked toward us. Of course she did. Daniel, she said. I looked at her. Chloe. Her eyes flickered to Sophia, then back to me. Can we talk? Sophia didn't let go of my hand. Say it here, I said. Chloe hesitated, then nodded. I made a mistake. There it was, simple, direct, familiar. I didn't react. You said that before, I replied. I mean it this time, she insisted. Ryan stepped closer. Chloe. Not now, she said. Cutting him off. That surprised me. She looked back at me. I chose wrong. I let out a slow breath. That's not something I can fix for you. I'm not asking you to fix it, she said quickly. I'm asking for another chance. Silence. Heavy, uncomfortable. Ryan scoffed. You're serious right now? Chloe ignored him. I know I hurt you, she continued. I know I didn't choose you when I should have. I nodded slightly. That part is true. Her voice softened. But I see it now. See what? I asked. You, she said. I almost laughed. You always saw me. No, she shook her head. Not like this. I tilted my head. And what changed? She hesitated, then said it. You did. Of course. I glanced at Sophia. She didn't react, didn't interrupt, just stood there, steady, present. Once and that told me everything I needed to know. Ryan stepped forward again. This is ridiculous, he said. You're really choosing him now? Those words hit differently this time, because I remembered, standing in that courtyard, Being the one not chosen, being the one left behind. But now, everything had flipped. I looked at Ryan, then at Chloe, then at Sophia, standing beside me, still holding my hand. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. And in that moment, everything became clear. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't about proving anything. It wasn't about Chloe, or Ryan, or anyone else. It was about choice. My choice. I'm not second anymore, I said quietly. The words settled into the air, firm, certain. Chloe's expression shifted. Pain, regret, understanding. "In Daniel," she whispered. I shook my head slightly. "No," I said. "You already made your choice." "I can change," she said quickly. "Maybe," I replied, "but that doesn't mean I have to go back." Ryan frowned. "So that's it?" he asked. I looked at him. "Yeah. That's your big decision?" I nodded. "It is." He scoffed. "All this because she rejected you once?" I smiled slightly. "No," I said, "because I finally stopped waiting." That shut him up. I turned to Chloe. "You didn't lose me today," I said. "You lost me the moment you chose someone else." Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know." "I know," I interrupted gently. "You didn't know my value." Silence. "And now?" she asked softly. I glanced at Sophia, then back at Chloe. "Now it doesn't matter." Chloe looked like she wanted to say more, but the words never came because there was nothing left to say. She nodded slowly. "I understand." Ryan didn't look convinced, but for once, he didn't argue. Chloe stepped back, creating distance, accepting it, and just like that, it was over. I exhaled slowly. "Are you okay?" Sophia asked quietly. I looked at her. "Yeah." And I meant it, because for the first time, I didn't feel like I lost something. I felt like I gained something. Clarity. I tightened my grip on her hand, not out of habit, not out of necessity, but because I wanted to. I turned toward her, she looked at me, and for a second, everything else faded. The noise, the people, the past, all of it. "I choose her," I said. Not loudly, not for attention, just honestly. Sophia didn't react immediately, but I saw it. That shift in her expression, that softness, that realness. And then, for the first time since I met her, she smiled. Not cold, not distant, not controlled, real. And that moment changed everything because it wasn't part of the act. It wasn't calculated. It wasn't planned. It was real, and I felt it, deep, clear, certain. I smiled back. "Was that part of your plan?" I asked quietly. She shook her head slightly. "No." "Good," I said. She tilted her head. "Why?" "Because neither was this." She looked at our hands, still held together, then back at me. "You're not backing out?" she asked. I shook my head. "Not a chance." She studied me for a moment, then nodded. "Good." We stood there for a while, not saying anything, not needing to, because everything that mattered had already been said. And in that moment, I understood something important. Sometimes, the things you don't plan, the things that start as mistakes, the things that feel completely out of control, turn into something real, something better, something unexpected. I looked at Sophia again, at the girl I never should have chosen, at the girl who should have walked away, at the girl who stayed. And I realized this wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It wasn't about winning. It wasn't about revenge. It was about finding something real and holding on to it, even if it started as a lie, because sometimes the best things in life happen by accident.